Go. Second time. Woohoo!
Round
Yeah.
two. Fight. Yeah, we recorded yesterday. It was our best episode of all time.
It's great. It's
Uh,
beautiful.
Legitimately would have went down in the record books. But Zoom said no. We can't have that content out for the people. Try it again.
Brant's Zoom specifically said no.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It said make room on your device, so I made room on my device, and when I went back to try and re-download the episode, it said cannot be found.
Lovely.
So the best episode we ever did is somewhere in the cloud. It's not even in the cloud, or else I'd be able to re-download it.
It's in the goddamn ether is where it is.
It's been Thanos'd away.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it all over again. I don't think we're gonna talk about everything again today because it's not as important.
Oh,
Paulo Espino signed. That was how we started the last one. He had a 24.5 ERA. Did we come up
with a 2.4 whip?
And we found it to be 37 on opening day. So good for him.
Yeah, he's 36 now. He'll be 37 in a few days.
He is our savior.
That is our number 2 starter next year, gentlemen. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we got with that. It was on time yesterday because we had 2 pieces of breaking news. Well, not 2 pieces of breaking news, but 2 pieces of news. First and foremost, Kevin Kiermaier re-signed.
Yeah, lovely. 1 year, 10.5.
It's 10.5.
It's 10.5.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was 10.
That's what did he make last year? Like 9?
I think it's basically the same.
It was a similar deal, I think.
I think it was 1 year.
Almost identical, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a $500,000 pay increase.
For last year's Gold Glove winner who hit the way he did, I'll take 10 mil for him.
Yeah.
He said he feels 24 and feels like he's feeling better than last year. So he said that last year as well.
He's saying
he came out and backed it up. So
yeah, he said a lot of stuff today. He was on Deep Left Field with Wilmer.
Okay. There's his first problem.
There's one quote that he did come out that was interesting. He said, "For all you Blue Jays fans, if you're hating on Dalton Varsho, don't affiliate yourselves with me because I won't put up with it." And
are people still hating on Dalton Varsho? Because I haven't seen that, and I really hope that's over with.
It's never going to be over with as long as Gabe Moreno's a person.
If Gabriel Moreno is an above-average MLB player, then the Dalton Varsho hate train will
Dalton could also be an above average next year.
Would it really surprise you though if he comes out, hits a 235 to 250, 35 bombs, 90 RBIs?
Not really. How far off would he have? 19
I wouldn't be surprised.
He had 19 and 60, I think.
And in his first year where he's just kind of still figuring things out to begin with, I think he could pull it off. I could see him being in the 25 to 30 homer range.
Yeah.
He's got the pop to do it. He's just got to find the consistency. And I think with new offensive coordinator Don Mattingly and without, I don't even remember the guy's name that they fired. So.
What's going on here, Brent?
I knocked out my mic.
Bro, I genuinely got a minor heart attack, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go again.
No.
But yeah, so Hudgens is gone now, so that's great.
That's his name. Thank you, Dave Hudgens.
Yeah.
I think maybe with him being gone and with Don Mattingly maybe taking more of a role, there's a chance that he could find some sort of new approach and run into 25 to 30.
Yeah.
There's also a chance he could hit 185 and run into 15. Who knows?
I never know. Another thing that did kind of come out that Wilner did say that Kiermaier assumes his role will be the same as it was, playing center field for the vast majority of games, hitting at or near the bottom of the batting order.
Right.
But he's been given no guarantees. Which
that's good.
Tells me they're fucking Cody Bellinger's still a thing.
Well, they also last year they were straight up telling him like you will be our everyday center fielder for the year. Like that is what we're
as long as you are healthy, you will be the guy.
Yeah. So I mean, at least we're in a different mindset than last year, which I mean Kevin Kiermaier can be your everyday center fielder.
I was gonna say, do we hate it if he's our everyday center fielder and hit
not really?
No.
He wasn't the problem.
No.
I don't think aside from Belly, who is definitely more of a middle of the order bat, but really his stats last year didn't really profile a ton different from Kiermaier. He wasn't hitting a ton of bombs. I don't know I don't know what the RBIs were, but like if you throw Kiermaier in the middle of the order, he's probably getting more RBIs. Like,
Yeah. I don't know if
he's
throwing up
obviously a
as
better
many
offensive
homers.
player. He's obviously a better offensive player. That's like undoubtable. But
Belly had a 20. He had 97 RBIs last year, and
yeah, Kiermaier's not getting that.
and
But
26 home runs. So
Kiermaier had 8 homers, 36 RBIs at the bottom of the order. He had a
he also played
741
one.
OPS. Like that's tied for the third best in his career. And the last time he was over,
I'd argue he was probably the best 9 hitter in baseball, and really at points this year shouldn't have been hitting 9 because we could have used him in like the 1 or 2 hole.
The highest I think he batted this year was like 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is
the last time he was over 720 before this year was in 2017. So the guy got old for 6 years and came back and kind of rejuvenated himself as the best 9 hitter in the league.
What did he have done? Hip? Was it?
It was a hip, yeah.
Yeah, I think that had been bothering him for a couple of years, and he'd been injured,
fixed it, and
a few times.
Here we are. Yeah, it'll be fun. I think it's a good pickup. I have no issues with that. Obviously, the next pickup we had a great discussion about this
ad nauseum about this fucking guy.
We must have talked for like half an hour on him.
Yeah, he was a lot of our podcast yesterday. We don't need to go over it again to an extent, but yeah, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is a Toronto Blue Jay. Nate did a great job of trying to put a positive spin on.
Did he? Is that what we're calling good IKF attempt?
He tried.
So.
He absolutely tried his hardest, and he got me feeling like maybe it'll be a valuable piece. But
I'll explain it again because we don't have that audio. But here's kind of where my mindset is now. Hated it at the time. Absolutely hated it. But he gives you the ability to consolidate essentially Whit Merrifield's role and Santiago Espinal's role into just him. He's a better base runner. I think he's a better fielder than both of them. Maybe not statistically last year, but he is. That's facts. I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Plays all 3 outfield positions. He can play middle infield considerably well, and I think he played some third last year for them. Like,
and center, he played outfield for the Yankees.
And the other thing we talked about, he can catch. Hasn't caught in the majors since I think 2020. Brent said, but he's got catching experience. He was a starting catcher for an entire year, right? Like the guy can catch. He gives you the option to hit both Jano and Kirk in the lineup at the same time, which I hope isn't happening because we pick up a bat. But it gives you that option, and then if one of them goes down, you don't have to scramble to the emergency, like Whit Merrifield coming in to catch for you or whatever it would have been. You've got him there who's capable, and you don't have to worry about doing that with Varsho because I think at this point that's out of the picture.
Yeah. Well, I think too is you're going to have Varsho in the game for sure.
Oh yeah,
for almost every night. So I mean, trying to use your left fielder or your center fielder as your emergency backup catcher is not usually an ideal situation. So you have IKF on the bench. At $7.5 million, you can stomach him being on the bench. We mentioned that yesterday. And I think it's a little easier to call him off the bench to come and catch as opposed to bringing Varsho in from the field.
Okay. Well, we showed last year at the deadline we weren't comfortable with Espinal being a backup shortstop for an extended period of time at least. I believe Kiner-Falefa also played a full year at short. So like the guy's done it. He's a good fielder.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like Gold Glove level at all, but
he did win a Gold Glove at third. Granted, it was 2020, but
he's an above average fielder, I'd say, at pretty well all the positions he plays.
Yeah.
And we do value that, and I think that was kind of part of the value with Witt and Santi a little bit, and at Cav obviously. But I'm saying I think Santi's out the door here, and they better have a trade partner for him that makes sense. Maybe we bring in a project bullpen guy or something, right? Like or bench bat. Like that's the other thing I mentioned yesterday. If you make those 2 guys one guy, that opens you up to have some power off the bench, which we didn't have last year unless Jano was on the bench really. I think that's pretty well what I said yesterday.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I'm trying to get more on board with it. I still don't think he's very good, but if he's your second guy off the bench, not necessarily the first guy, but he can serviceably play I'd say every infield position, maybe not first, but
Yeah.
he can roam around the entire infield. He can catch if you need him to. He can play a little bit of outfield, I think.
I
They
think he
tried him
started
there
in center
last
for the
year.
Yankees 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad problem to have. No, do not expect him to hit. I think that is what I need to try and get through my head is he's not going to be a good hitter.
Okay.
I did look yesterday though. I think it was 21 and 20. He hit 271 and 280. Granted, one of them short year, but it's a while ago. Yeah, his OBPs were both in the low
like
threes,
10
which
points higher.
which is not great. But you know what? Mattingly was a big approach guy. Maybe they see something in kind of Falefa's approach that they could tweak. You never know, right? Like I don't like that we gave him 2 years. That part, not a huge fan of, but it's $7.5 million. I said it last night. Deanna Navarro was making 5 in 2016 to be our backup catcher, or 15. I forget which year.
Yeah.
That's a while back. Salaries have increased since then. So,
do you guys want a stat that is funny or sad?
let's go sad first.
I mean, I have two stats here, and they're both kind of funny and both kind of sad. So
I was going to say,
versus four-seam fastballs. I'm going to give you two players. The first player, this is last year, had an expected batting average of 309, an expected slugging of 464, a 13% whiff rate, and a +3 run value.
Okay.
The other player had a 216 expected batting average, a 513 expected slugging, a 35% whiff rate, and a -5 run value.
Player one, I'm gonna go with Kiner Falefa.
Yeah. It is Kiner Falefa.
And
player two,
I think
Vlad?
number 2 is Witt.
Nope.
Is it a Blue Jay?
Player two, Matt Chapman?
Yes, Matt Chapman.
I thought you were going with a second baseman, so that's why.
No, dude, but like
that did stick out as Chapman.
And also, another stat here: Isaiah Kiner Falefa in his career has an 81 WRC plus and a 19 defensive run saves in 154 games at third base. Matt Chapman, after April last year,
same thing,
had a 84 WRC plus and a 12 defensive run saved. So if worst comes to worst, you're just getting May through September Matt Chapman for significantly less money.
If we really Peter Brand this thing down to the bare bones numbers, he is giving you what Matt Chapman gave you from May to October, and you made the playoffs despite that. So paying $7.5 million for that, as opposed to what we think Chapman's going to get 25
pluses, like.
His market seems to be sitting, and I don't know if there's a lot of competitors left that need a third baseman.
No.
I think it's kind of us, apparently the Cubs and the Giants.
Well, the Giants want to give their money to everyone. I think he's going to get 20. So the difference of $12
yeah, but I don't think it's what he was looking at earlier. Like he might be close to the qualifying offer on like a 2-year, 3-year deal.
That's what I assumed might happen. But at the end of the day, when you break it down to the bare bones numbers, you are saving $12.5 million to maybe get what Chapman gave you from May onwards. So your team at worst is going to be where it was last year. I think Chapman has a hell of a lot more upside.
And this is obviously barring the expected bounce back of several players on the team.
Well, and like IKF should not be starting for you. If he ends up starting like opening day and there isn't an injury or something that caused that,
there's a problem.
Then we didn't do enough this offseason.
You can make the argument.
The one thing I don't think we mentioned, he is pretty fucking fast, and we did not have speed off our bench last year unless Kiermaier was on the bench.
Yeah.
Which, like, I guess Witt, I think he's quicker or around the same speed as Witt, but
also you could sorry, Brent, but you can make the argument that if Isaiah Kiner Falefa, like you said, like if something went wrong, if he's starting at opening day, I think something's wrong, more wrong if it's not one of the kids playing opening day third base or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Someone tweeted out today something along the lines, I forget it, but it was basically like, this is kind of more of a safety net move because these guys don't really trust a Addison Barger or a Davis Schneider or an Aravis Martinez yet. So it's kind of like, well, this guy can play major league innings.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good safety net to have, I'd say.
Yeah.
And also this is like, I think another person.
It raises your floor. Is the bottom line of this move.
This is also a giant safety net if you're trying to swing for like a Bellinger or a Hoskins or trying to get back a Matt Chapman. Like, if worst comes to worst and it's IKF and the prospects and or David Schneider and Kevin Biggio doing infield work, you've been in way worse situations. Like,
we did go over yesterday.
We made it to the playoffs with the Ryan Goins starting at second base. I think
like every day.
Okay.
Yeah, in spite of Devin. It should have been Devin Travis.
Be careful. Jays fans love that guy for some reason.
Oh my dude,
he was a really nice person, it seemed, but
the people Jays fans have
really loved. I don't know, man. They live for like gritty defensive guys. He was absolutely one of them.
Because they're fucking
lucky.
But
you know who we don't like? That's real gritty, real defensive, and seems very likable and very nice. Dalton Varsho.
Dalton Varsho is
apparently we only I was gonna say we only like him in the infield, but we liked Kevin Pillar for some reason. If we drafted Dalton Varsho, I feel like he would be a hometown hero here.
Fucking love him.
It's what happened with Kevin Pillar, and they're arguably the same guy, but I would argue Varsho has more upside homer wise.
And Kevin Pillar made 2019 Bo Bichette look like a fucking disciplined god.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a hell of a lot more there, but the unfortunate side of it is we gave up Moreno for him, so now everyone just seems to be on the hate train.
Yeah.
We talked yesterday about the different options we have left in Bellinger and Hoskins or the likes of that. Because we did sign a center fielder and we did sign a utility guy, so they're on the surface, it would seem like maybe they're filling out their outfield, and that could be it. I don't think we're done. It was a bunch of people tweeted it out, but Robert Murphy, right?
Robert
Murray, sorry, said today that the Blue Jays are definitely not done. They're still looking for a big bat, and they're looking for potentially multiple bats. So I think there's a chance you could see Bellinger still come here.
Well, like we said with Kiermaier, he hasn't been given a full role yet. He said that himself. Last year, I think we pulled it up last night. I think he played just under 130 games.
Yeah,
it was like 129 or something.
It was 129.
I think that's kind of his ideal range. I'd even say a little lower. So you get Belly, he can slot in center for you. You can throw him over and right and give George DH days. You can move him to first and give Vlad DH days. Like that is.
Thank you for bringing that. I'm so glad. In a weird way, I'm so glad we got to take two on this fucking thing. I watched today's episode of baseball. Like, I think was it what's the show called with Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe? Baseball something like the morning today. Baseball today. They were talking about how does it take the Jays out of the Cody Bellinger thing? Trevor Plouffe immediately went to Dalton Varsho, just kick the can, just admit you fucked up. And if you get Cody Bellinger, you can just go, Dalton Varsho, bye. And I'm like, just go to the other side.
You're pushing George Springer out right now.
You're pushing George Springer out to DH.
Yeah.
You're not pushing Dalton Varsho, who's one of the best outfield defenders in the league.
No. George Springer needs a lot more DH days.
Yes.
Because if we saw anything last year, if we saw anything last year, they both couldn't do it. I think you need to get them off their feet a little bit more and try and have a little bit more pop. George needs to find the pop again because it's great that he had a higher contact rate than he's ever had in his career. But
dude,
if you're not doing damage with that contact, there's no sense in paying you that much money.
We should have known what it was with George the fucking first game of the season. That man went 5 for 6 and maybe one ball went 100 miles an hour.
It was all like 3 infield singles, was it not? We need to see a lot more out of George, and if bringing in a Bellinger and moving him to the DH spot on 60% of games and having Vlad be the DH in the other 40.
Yeah, if George Springer is technically
something doable.
If George Springer is technically your fourth, quote unquote, fourth outfielder, you're hitting pretty.
Yeah.
Well, if it's Belly, all 4 of them can play center, and you'd be confident in all 4 of them playing center.
Yeah. You have 4 center fielders. 4 center fielders across the whole thing, and 3 of them playing at once is it. Especially now, you have 3 guys that could still currently play center field. I don't know if George can be an everyday center fielder, but you have 3 everyday center fielders in the outfield at once. It's tough to beat that.
2 of them have fucking cannons,
and 2 of them have gold gloves.
And
Dalton Varsho
should.
Yeah, but he doesn't. So
it's
interesting.
We did touch on some of the other guys last night too.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all agreed we like Hoskins a lot. I don't think we even really talked about Soler, but
I'm the only one on Soler. You two don't like him.
I'm okay on Soler. I don't think the price tag is going to be worth it.
I don't mind him if he's not the only move. And yeah, I don't think the price tag is going to be worth that.
If,
I'd rather take Hoskins on the 1 year that I think he's going to get.
Yeah.
I think the Hoskins ceiling is higher.
I don't love JD as much either. I like he's an amazing hitter, and
JD's been
so fun to watch, but
he's very consistent.
He's kind of the Nelson Cruz point where you give him a 1 year deal and you hope it works out, but at some point it's not going to work out, right? Like,
yeah,
it's inevitable
and
when you get to that age.
Also, how much of that was Dodgers magic last year?
All of it.
Like he had 13 home runs in 2022, and then he went to the Dodgers and hit 33 and batted like.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know if I trust that JD Martinez is going to do that again.
No,
I feel the same way about Justin Turner. I know, Nate, you love him, but I feel the same way.
I don't think he's going to give you the same production he got last year, but I don't think you need that out of him. I think for his career, he's been a guy who's going to have close to 300 average, maybe 280 to 300 ish, and he hits for some pop. I don't know how many he had last year. I think it was 20 something, if I'm not wrong. But like, if he hits you 15, he can still kind of field the ball enough and maybe get some DH time. But
the one conversation I do want to have again that we had yesterday, because I slept on it and I'm liking it more and more, is the idea of bringing in both of Belly and Hoskins and seeing what you can do again with Vlad at third.
I was talking to my dad about this today, same thing, and like I'm starting to like the idea more. 1 year,
yeah. What do you have to lose, really?
You literally, Belly plays first. He can go to the outfield if you need him, the odd time, whatever. Hoskins DHs. He's a capable first baseman. You get him probably on a 1 year deal. I've been saying that. Like, he's gonna want the pillow contract, kind of similar to Semien. And you take him on the 1 year deal. You can throw Vlad over to third.
Also,
we talked about last night. Sorry, Connor, but like, his arm has never been a problem.
No,
maybe accuracy a little bit.
Probably.
I think his glove work wasn't great at third.
No.
He's become much better with the glove at first.
Really good with the glove.
It's his footwork at first that is driving us nuts. I don't know about everyone, but
definitely me and you.
He doesn't have to worry about that at third base. It's so much more reactionary. We haven't seen Slim Vlad at third base, right? Like, he's lost a ton of weight too. He's more mobile. Like, he's probably going to be a below average third baseman defensively. Yes. I would bet
I'm not expecting him to go over there and be Matt Chapman.
Oh, hell no.
But go over there and field the position capably. The comparison I brought up last night was the Tigers in like 2012, 2013-ish, because they had a chance to bring in Prince Fielder. They did it. They're like, all right, we got Prince, we got Miggy, and we got Victor Martinez. Victor's got a DH. Prince has got to play one. Miggy, you haven't played third in 5 years. Just
be there.
Make the easy plays.
Yeah.
That's what you'd be asking from Vlad, because you are putting together a murderer's row lineup.
I think that's the big thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and another thing that this helps Vlad. Say Vlad goes over there and has good production batting. Third baseman tend to get more money than first baseman.
Way more valuable than a first baseman. Yeah. It makes sense for his career. If he can do it at an average level, it makes sense for the Jays.
He could be a below, just don't fuck it. Don't fuck it.
Just don't be Kevin Bijou of 2021 or whatever year that was.
As long as you're not into the 3 minutes.
I think he has the athleticism to play third base. It doesn't take that much. He's got a cannon. His reaction's great. His hand-eye is phenomenal. He just isn't a first baseman.
His glove work got so much better.
So much better.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. He's learned first base in the big leagues. Like, we saw him come up and learn first base. He's done an amazing job, in my opinion, learning first base. Which a lot of people say is such a tough position. Like, it doesn't come to you right away.
No.
Right? Like, the footwork and stuff, that is the toughest thing, I think, at the position. He's still working at it, obviously.
There's veterans that still don't have that footwork figured out.
Worst case scenario, he moved to third a month and a half, 2 months into the season, and he's shit in the bed. You know what you do? You say, all right, Kevin Kiermaier,
Dalton
Dalton
Varsho.
Varsho, and George Springer. You guys are running a 3-man platoon. Belly's
For
going
2
to the
spots.
outfield.
Figure it the
Austin's
fuck out.
DH, Vlad, DH, whatever you want to do. One of them at first.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing George a lot, but unless he's going to come and take a job away from someone, you run that 3-man platoon as long as you can, and you see which one works. If this doesn't work out, on the off chance it does work a little bit, you take away your infield defense a little bit, you still have the best outfield in baseball with 3 center fielders out there. You're now DHing George Springer, who gets off his feet, and you have Rhys Hoskins.
The other thing you can do in a rotation, like most of those guys are fly ball pitchers, are they not? Like
I would say
Cooch
Bassett
is,
for sure.
I believe
Kikuchi
Bassett
definitely
is. I think Barrios is. Maybe
the
not
only
with
one
a
is
slurve.
not as Gosman.
But like the other thing you can
Gosman's
do,
strikeouts.
you've got IKF or whoever else is going to be on the bench. Throw them at third on a ground ball pitcher day or whatever. Get Vlad off his feet, throw him in the DH spot, and take out one of the outfielders.
Like,
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it.
Just
everybody's not going to get their games
and just field his position. But you know, maybe everyone not getting their games isn't such a bad thing. Maybe these guys stay a lot healthier.
And also, this protects you for injury.
Yeah,
because George is in the peak of health.
No,
Kiermaier, granted, he played
was last year, not always,
but the way the 3 of them play the outfield, they're gonna you're bound to have one of them get injured.
Yeah,
which is the way I want guys to play the outfield.
They play it like assholes. Like, they play it like football players.
Yeah,
just fuck it fast,
it's
and
full
we
tilt.
go.
We're going.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of inevitable that like 1 or 2 times throughout the year, one of them is going to end up on the 15-day just because they're going hard. Like, and that's what you want out of your guys.
Yeah.
Yep. It's worth a look, I think.
I don't know
if it makes your lineup better. That's what you're asking for. And sorry, back on what we were saying there.
I was just gonna say I don't know the likelihood of it, but I'm starting to like it more and more. And I think if it's Hoskins and it's 1 year, what's maybe throwing Vlad to third unlocks his bat more too. You never know. That's where he came up playing, or that in like right field, whatever.
If you're thinking less about how to play first base and more about swinging the bat and just going out there and being a third baseman, it might change your mindset a little bit. You mentioned on keeping guys' game limits a little lower and trying to stay healthy for the year. I don't care if we win 110 games this season or we win 90. The only ones that matter are the ones that happen after the 162. And if you can keep guys healthier for those ones, I think you're in a better spot. Look at the Dodgers every year.
Well, same with the Braves the past 2.
The Braves played. They had 4 guys that played 162, didn't they?
Basically their entire starting lineup almost, other than I think Murphy and Arcia and maybe Ozuna.
I think Albie's missed some time too.
I'm just saying those guys played bench roles, but the other guys were in there every day. Out of you. But and you look at the Rangers, you don't have to be the 100-win team. No, but they barely squeaked into a wild card at the end. Or at the end, they were right there with us.
Didn't Corey Seager play like fucking 100 games? But
he was hurt. I think that's a bit different.
It's a bit different, but
But I mean, you're taking less wear and tear. You're hurt, and you kind of. It's the same idea with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper missed half a season, came back and DH the whole time. He looked as healthy as he could be by the time he reached October.
Corey Seager played Jesus, this is ridiculous. Corey Seager played 119 games. He had a damn near 7 B-WAR.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Fucking
he had a great year. But no, that's just the thing that they do every year. Is both the Braves and the Dodgers are going to go win 110 games, but when you get down to it, you're pretty gassed. It's a lot of work to win 100 games. It's a lot on you.
I don't think
the Orioles Dodgers were the same thing. They ran themselves out too.
I don't think the Dodgers as much. I don't think they gas their guys as much. I think they give their guys more rest. I feel like a Mookie going between second and right field, that'd be a lot on you, but
yeah.
Well, they've done it kind of all the time. They run Taylor. They used to run Muncy. Bellinger from outfield to infield all the time. Muncy moved around.
Taylor all the time.
Yeah.
They're moving Lux.
A lot of Lux
from short to second to short.
He moved from short to second to center field.
Yeah.
At one point.
That's what he did. He played a playoff game in center. I remember that shit.
He dropped the first 2 balls to him.
Yep. So
I don't know. Trying to keep your guys healthy for 182 192 as opposed to 162 is
Yeah.
probably the goal. And if that's what happens here, it's not such a bad thing.
Well, and that's we talked about in the free agent discussion as well. Because I brought up Woodruff still out there. Obviously, the timeline last I heard was kind of hairy. Could be like almost the end of the year, or he could be ready for spring training. They didn't really know. But like he's a guy I'd throw 2 years, 30 million at, no doubt, and sleep very comfortably. Give him 10 this year. Hope he contributes a little bit. 20 next year. Like he's probably a 25, $30 million pitcher when he's healthy. So it might take a little more money, but I would love that. And then if he comes back and can contribute down the stretch, you've got the option to throw probably Kikuchi to the pen or one of the other guys if they're struggling.
Right.
Or Manoah, whatever. Like, you never know what happens. But you can also run a 6-man, which the Astros did 2 years ago when they won the World Series. Down the stretch, that's what they did. And it kept the guys healthier. It kept them stronger. Give them the extra day. Let them just chill. Like you're not going to get your innings.
No.
Like my thought is if they're more rested and you're getting 6 pretty much every start from them, you're only using 3 out of your bullpen. You got one less guy in the bullpen, which is a loss. But if you only need 3 out of your bullpen every night, your bullpen can handle that.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a healthier bullpen. You have a healthier rotation. Overall, it just kind of makes your team deeper and healthier by the time you get where you need to be. I think there's lots of things to do here.
I'm tired of I don't care how many games we win in the regular season.
No.
I want playoff wins.
The only thing I care about
success.
is please just don't fucking bore me to death. And like
just make it.
Don't actually you didn't
make it exciting.
They didn't even bore me last year. They just made me want to put my head through a wall. Like just don't do that and win your games. Like
there's ways to like be not as great offensive team and still be exciting. Like play. I find small ball exciting. Like bunt, like hit and run, stealing, bunt guys over, like squeeze plays, like stuff like that.
Lefty drag bunts gave me life.
Electric.
Like
electric. Brandon Belt laying down bunts to reach base like more than anyone on the team was insane. Like watching that happen was nuts.
Andrew Kirk leading the team in infield singles the last 2 years.
That's not exciting to me though. That shouldn't happen. Like, I don't want that.
IKF, the one thing, he is quick, and I don't know, but he has to be able to bunt. Like he just has to. I think that, but brings a different element. He brings a different element than any guy we had on our bench last year. He reminds me of Bradley Zimmer.
Yeah, but more infield based.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do here, especially seeing that it sounds like they have more moves coming, and they're still taking big swings. It'd be interesting to see how they go from here. I'd like to see them do something stupid and just have fun with it. Why not?
Fuck it.
You made it this far. You might as well just go try something.
Do the stupid.
I would go watch the stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You just run a bunch of guys out there that can hit bombs and hope. Who cares about the infield defense? We got three elite outfielders.
That was honestly the 2021 team.
Yeah.
That was one of the most
great,
fucking
but better outfield defense.
Summers of my life. Like
so much more fun.
And
let's do something like that again. Yeah.
Oh, and fucking way better pitching.
Way better now.
Yeah.
Not TJ Zoik in game 2 of the season. Like that was a thing. Holy Tommy Malone getting like actual innings.
Starts.
Let's fire through this Yariel Rodriguez prize here.
We talked about him yesterday, and I still know nothing about him. I know he throws hard
and has a good breaking ball. Pitched in Japan.
He's worth the look, is what it sounds like from.
So
yesterday.
It sounds like
here's the interesting thing. The teams like the Reds, the Yankees, and the Padres view Rodriguez as a late inning reliever. The Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Pirates are evaluating him as a starter.
That's two different verbiages there, though, that I do want to point out. They view him as a reliever. These teams are evaluating him as a starter. It doesn't mean they're viewing him as a starter. Those teams are going to sign him and put him right in their bullpen.
Right.
Sounds like the Jays are looking at him and going to maybe give him some run in spring training in the rotation if that's the look or whatever.
That's what he wants to do.
He also, he prefers
I don't think it means
to start over relief, but like,
no shit, you're making more money as a starter.
So did Roberto Osuna, to be fair. And I know he turned out to be a shit guy, but he also did turn out to be a way better closer than he ever would have been a starter. So
Yeah.
Casey Jansen, another one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Cecil.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, he was a starter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Brett Cecil was a good starter for a year, and then he was terrible for the rest of it. But
we talked about it last night, but like it's another thing. It just kind of raises your floor, right? Like he reminds me of Genesis Cabrera, a guy. He throws hard. He's got nasty shit. Like if it doesn't work out, he can come in early in games and he's still gonna fucking miss bats. And just because his shit's nasty, even if he's all over the place, he's gonna get out, right? Like I think he's
velocity
worth a
plays.
look. And best case scenario, he maybe slots into the back end of your bullpen because we don't have Hicks. So you need a back end guy at this point, in my opinion. I like Swanee and Romano and who the fuck's the other guy? Chad Green. But I think
Don't you forget the god that is Jimmy Garcia.
no, he's not in there at all.
I totally forgot Jimmy was still here.
Yeah, I hoped he wasn't.
He did have a good back half or back stretch. So maybe he'll come around again. I don't know. But again, if Jimmy's your cleanup guy in the 4th or 5th inning, that's pretty good. He was a setup man as recently as this year.
I'm saying we got guys now like slotting into lower leverage roles that like Genesis Cabrera literally is so much fun to watch. Like his shit is electric. Dude. Give him a full spring training and off season with Pete Walker and a full season.
Yeah,
dude, he could be your fucking setup guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can get back to what he was in his good years in St. Louis.
There's a lot of interesting pieces in this bullpen currently, and there's also Trevor Richards. So it's going to be an interesting.
And there's also like this fucking
Jimmy Cabrera or Jimmy Garcia.
Jimmy Garcia. Fucking Zach Pop is a person that exists still.
Yeah,
like
they've got some of those other young
like
guys.
Danner,
I forget the
and
younger
Connor Cook. There's another guy like, dude. Hagen Danner pitched like a batter. Like last year.
It's kind of like the Rays. You bring in guys who throw hard and nasty shit, and
yeah,
it plays.
See what happens.
As we've seen with the Rays, it plays, and then they get hurt, and then you find a new one.
Like, dude, Genesis Cabrera with St. Louis in 32 games had an ERA he had a FIP at 5 and an ERA of 5.06. In 29 games with the Jays, he had an ERA of 2.66 and a FIP of 3.68.
Pretty good.
Like, also he walked 6.
Like the FIP to be a little lower, but
he walked 6 guys in 23 innings compared to his 18 in 32 in St. Louis. Like,
seems like he figured something out a little bit, but
he was found gold. That guy.
Yeah.
Always remember him.
Speaking of found gold, hey Jays, fucking bring back Jay Jackson. Like, just bring him back.
I don't see why not, but I don't know if he has
a role, and I think he pitched well enough to get probably a major league look somewhere else.
Pittsburgh.
Like God,
where's what hotel was he? Or hotel? Jesus, what hospital was his son in?
I think it was like the University of Utah.
Utah, right? So what's around Utah?
California,
Arizona.
Seattle, if I'm checking,
it's like mid. It's like dead mid, is it not? I mean, Kansas City.
No, dude,
is that not near it?
This is fucking showing how not American we are.
I don't know. I thought Utah was like right in the middle.
Okay, Utah is like directly. It is directly connected to Arizona, Colorado.
What is the one state I said?
I don't know.
Nevada,
Arizona,
Idaho, and Wyoming.
Fuck you both.
So
well, he could do one of two things here. He could go to the A's because they're going to go play in Vegas.
This is fair. Or
you could go to Colorado or Arizona, somewhere that he's going to get consistent bullpen time.
Arizona does seem.
I think it makes way more sense. He's a little closer to home. I don't even know if that's home, but closer to where his family is. I know his son's out, and shout out to him for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But at least he's a little closer to home, and he's not traveling back and forth all the time. And I think he deserves a look as like a 6th, 7th inning guy.
Like he was
unreal.
He's the definition of found gold,
and he's just a great person.
Yeah.
Fucking dude of dudes. Like, ugh. Is that all in the Jays?
Black Blue Jay in Connor's life.
Fuck off. We're not going back into that. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. All right,
dude. You had Melvin and BJ Upton.
No, we never had BJ.
We want to remember.
We only
Melvin?
had Melvin.
No.
Melvin had one moment where he hit an inside the park home run, and that was like it. Like,
I really hoped he was going to turn it around and be something good. We got to talk about fucking Yamamoto again.
yeah, we do, because
We just fire through around the league, and then we'll talk about the Dodgers quick.
Okay.
Martin Luther King got traded to the fucking Mets. See, I got the joke out this time, and not you, motherfucker.
I forgot about that.
But yeah,
we taught Connor that the acronym for Milwaukee is MIL, not MLK. Yeah.
MLK, very different acronym.
I feel like I did that for a reason. Like, I think they put that on like their fucking. They put that on their City Connects, or was it MWK?
No.
I think it's probably just MK. Maybe You know what? I'll look it up. Talk because I don't see about. Anybody learn anything about Yuki Matsui yet?
We talked about this yesterday. He's been a reliever for 10 years in Japan. He has like 245 saves. Like,
what did he do though?
He signed. What do you mean? What did he do? He signed with the Padres for 5 years.
I understand what he did, but what does he do as a pitcher?
He came over from Asia, and I think it's cool that there's more people coming from Asia recently. That was about a good 20-minute conversation. It felt like last night.
We did extend that for a while, but basically
we talked briefly. Like it used to be, one guy maybe every 2 to 3 years, and it was such a big deal. And now it's kind of cool to me that you have guys like Yuki Matsui or Shun Yamaguchi or whoever that come over, and you haven't really heard of them. Even who was
of all the motherfuckers you remember, Yamaguchi.
Yeah, because you didn't remember his name. Honestly, I was
Shota Imanaga. It's the guy.
Yeah, but I'm saying no. I meant Shun Yamaguchi. Actually, I was trying to think of the guy who signed with Oakland's name, but Shun Yamaguchi. Yeah, Shintaro Fujinami. I'm saying like you have more under the radar guys come over. And it's cool to see these guys.
But I don't think Shun was supposed to be an under the radar guy. Like he was.
No, I think he was under the radar. We got him for like $2 million.
Fucking Shenwan O and shit. Like
who is that? But yeah, either way, you're getting guys like. I'm gapping again. What the fuck is his name from Boston?
Yoshida.
Masataka Yoshida.
Yoshida. Thank you. Jesus Christ. That's the second day in a row. I listened to it yesterday and I still couldn't figure out his damn name. And you get like Maeda's, you get the Jung-Hoo Lee's, you get the Ha-Sung Kims. Like you're seeing more of a growth, and I think that you're right. It's super cool to see like the growth.
It's exciting to see it growing in Asia.
Yeah. And just like I know it's always been a big thing
over there. Guys is going to be so much. It's going to make it so much bigger going forward too.
Yeah.
Right? So
like I know it's always been a bigger thing in Japan, especially that like baseball's huge over there. But like having it grow globally, whereas this one league is now a little more global than just we have the Americans, the Latinos, and the 3 Canadians in the league. Now we have a little bit of everything, and it's kind of cool to see. You're right.
The 3 Canadians, all of them first baseman.
All of them, dude.
All of them first baseman.
Yeah, try making MLB the show team out of the Canadians.
First baseman.
Dude,
still to this day.
Thank God for Eddie Julian.
That's it. We had Michael Saunders for a while. Tyler O'Neill, I guess. You could pitch.
Bo Naylor.
We had a bunch of
Bo Naylor.
Bo Naylor.
Future first baseman, you mean?
But yeah.
Who else is in the outfield? There's another decent Canadian outfielder, I think. Anyways, let's fire around the league here.
Right. So yeah, Matsui to the Padres, Garver to Seattle. Interesting.
Good money.
Good contract. Worth it. Lourdes is returning to Arizona.
And Dalton Varsho was bad. Moving on.
Hey now. Shout out to Lourdes. That's a good. I'm happy he got a deal somewhere. That's he's a nice guy. He earned it. The Royals are signing everybody still.
Royals gonna win the AL Central.
Anyone can win the AL Central aside from the White Sox, as we found out yesterday. They have no shot, and nobody on that team.
When Yoan Moncada is a goddamn all-star this year, you will fucking eat crow.
It's still not gonna matter. You don't have any pitching.
If by some miracle he becomes all-star level, He will be one of 2 hitters on that team, and that's fantastic.
Okay, but let's fire through these quick.
Yeah, fine.
Flaherty to Detroit, Maldonado to the White Sox, Molly to Texas, Tom Murphy to San Francisco, and Martin Perez to Pittsburgh. We talked about last night. I think it's so good for baseball that these teams, it's essential teams. Granted, they got the weaker divisions, but these teams that aren't big markets per se are actually spending money and trying to win. They're not just tanking forever. Like seeing the Royals get all these guys is amazing. Seeing Detroit add Flaherty and Maeda is like those moves raise your floor, and the young arms you've got and the young bats you've got are your ceiling. So it's fun to see these type of moves.
I love the verbiage you used, because this is what's actually good for baseball and not the Dodgers just continuing to get everybody else.
I don't love them getting everybody, but I think them spending is
spending.
Good for baseball.
I'm with you. We talked about
Spending
it yesterday.
yes.
Spending's fine, but
spending is good.
It's not a John Heyman. It's better
teams.
For baseball if Shohei goes to LA.
The more I thought about that, I don't disagree. I think
I do.
I still disagree. One of your 2 biggest markets in
but you're not growing that
baseball.
Market. That market is already peaked. It could get a little higher, but it's not. It's up here, and you're going to take it to.
But they're not looking to grow. It's like, where can the biggest star shine, and where can he be our biggest market?
He's gonna shine wherever.
I know.
He's gonna bring Japan here wherever he goes.
It makes.
I think the better move would have been something like the Giants or the Cubs, maybe. The Blue Jays. The Blue Jays is a whole other country you would have grown in. I think saying the Dodgers is better for baseball is just.
Realistically, do you think MLB cares? Because I don't. I think if MLB had it their way, the Yankees would spend millions upon millions of dollars, and the Dodgers would spend millions upon millions of dollars, because those are the 2 marquee franchises, maybe along with the Red Sox, kinda. And then they would want those 2 in the finals every year. That's what they want. They want a Giants-Yankees World Series, because those are the 2 biggest markets.
Yeah, and that's why you saw those things that were like, is baseball dying? Look at the numbers for the World Series when it was Texas and Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. The deferrals people are getting upset about, it's Shohei's money. Like I said, I think he's going to try and get ownership shares out of it. So that's why I believe it really is going to come down to he's choosing to defer it. It wasn't the team coming to him. You got teams like Washington coming to Bryce Harper being like, hey, we want to defer like 60% of your contract because we can't afford it. It's him going to the team being like, hey, I want to win. Put a team around me. This is what I'm doing to show you I want to win.
Here's my problem with that is that I think it should be, okay, you signed your 10-year, $700 million contract. That is what's going on the CBT. Put the money wherever you want. Like, you should be taxed on $70 million a year for that, because now they're only taxed on 46. They now have 54 more million, math is not good. $24 more million to put towards that before they would even reach where they were with Shohei's CBT. That's the part I don't love.
I don't disagree necessarily. But I think if that's the case, then he gets a 15-year deal at 45, 50 a year or something, right? Like,
but I think there's just stipulations for that too.
No, there's not. It's stupid either way. Like, you look at fucking Yamamoto. He got 12 because they want to spread the money out. It's just the way baseball's doing it because they want to keep under the luxury tax. I'm gonna say just quick. The luxury tax serves its purpose very well, but I fucking hate it. Like, you've got these teams crying poor, and the rich teams who are trying to win and trying to grow the game are lining these teams' pockets because they aren't even fucking spending what they're getting in the fucking revenue sharing on their players. They're spending less than that. You look at Oakland, I couldn't tell you the exact numbers, but I guarantee fucking to you last year, they made more in revenue sharing than they spent on players. And that is ridiculous. Yeah. These owners are crying poor, and it is bullshit. So I don't like that the Mets spent money and should have the number 5 pick in the draft this year, I believe. And we'll have the number 15 because it drops back 10 picks if you're over whatever the Cohen threshold is.
Yeah.
I get you don't want teams like everyone going to one team and having an absolute super team and like them giving oodles of money to everyone.
No.
But you shouldn't be punishing teams for spending.
No, I'm here for the spending, and we talked about it yesterday, and I'm like, I would like if every team spent, but I don't love when it's just the Dodgers, and I think that's where my beef has come from lately, is because they're gonna keep doing it because they're the best team in the league, and why would you not want to go to the Dodgers right now?
But
I think if every team is dropping contracts like that, I think it's great.
We've also seen like the Cubs are trying to spend apparently.
Sure.
So are
the Jays. So are the
Giants. So there's still some names out there that are going to get some money, and they're going to get their money, and I think that's going to kind of drive up the price tags for some of those mid-level guys maybe. So I think teams are going to spend. I think it's tough with when Shohei signed and Yamamoto's signing window because he had to be signed by like January 5th or something. So we knew it was coming, and they both happened back to back. If you go Shohei, Bellinger, Chapman, Snell, then Yamamoto to the Dodgers, and all those other guys go elsewhere, I don't think it feels as bad, right? Like everyone's pissed right now because of that, but
because they're the only ones that have spent money. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but
the A's somehow in 2022 had $62 million in profit.
Fantastic.
But they're broke and need to leave.
We didn't mention it yesterday, probably because it's a little out of date, but we didn't talk about the greatest reason why Shohei didn't come here in Ben Verlander. And I know his quotes were a little out of date compared to when we're recording now.
I can't believe I'm saying this now. I am so fucking glad that your shit decided to break.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ben Verlander called Shohei Ohtani the most important signing in Dodgers history.
Didn't we talk about this on the last podcast?
We didn't. We talked about it in the group chat, but we didn't get a chance to actually talk about it.
Because this came out in between us, like the recordings that we were doing.
I think
it's so
his verbiage is very bad. I think I really hope what he meant to say was that
I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt.
It will be the most impactful on a baseball side. Because
which is still not true. No, it's not. Because
the Dodgers on-field
one of the only man that has his number retired by all of baseball.
I understand.
It was also a Dodgers signing.
Yes, that's
a guy that brought a whole race into the sport.
Yes, but I think this could impact the Dodgers the most, more than Jackie Robinson. Impact the Dodgers on the team, like on the field.
I don't know. Maybe like game-wise, maybe like he's gonna serve more of an on-field impact than Jackie Robinson. Maybe
that's what I'm saying. I'm not,
but I don't think that's.
I still wouldn't call that
impactful.
Meant. I don't think that's what Ben meant.
I don't think that's what Ben meant.
It makes it so much worse because before he says the line, he goes, "I'm absolutely sure. I'm positive what I'm saying is correct," and then says it. It's like you had multiple sentences of outs, and you still did it.
I think we just fuck off with Ben Verlander. We skipped the trades.
It's fucking.
Who got traded?
Glasnow Margot went to LA.
Oh yeah.
And Glasnow extension. So that's another one that
damn near $30 million for a glass arm.
People are pissed off. But
Martin Luther King trading.
Yeah, we just talked about Martin Luther King. You said Martin Luther King and skipped the other two.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think it's an interesting trade. I don't really love what the Rays got back, but
I don't.
What was it, Pepio and
wait for Pepio to win the Cy Young in 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Pepio's gonna shit on the Jays' chest.
Glasnow's gonna be out all year with Cy Young.
It's a whole different conversation, but then he will have fucking Tommy John. He'll be great. He'll have Tommy John, and then he'll fucking miss. No, I'm talking about Pepio because this is what the Rays do. Is like,
yeah, you're right.
We're gonna maximize you. You're definitely not gonna get hurt from us doing whatever.
No,
but yeah. Anyways, and then
it's called Tommy John the Cy Young surgery. That's one of my finest moments. I don't know. I think Glasnow's going to pitch like 6 games next year, get hurt because the Rays just know this Pepio kid's going to
Probably.
throw 105 miles an hour as a starter or something. It's crazy. It's going to be interesting. Is there anything else that happened in between yesterday and today?
I kind of want to touch on the conversation we had earlier, but do you want to go to the rules or that first?
I
We had it
don't
in our
know
group
what you're
chat
talking
prior.
about, so let's talk about it.
So I was listening to FT and I didn't get this idea on my own, but I like what's stopping baseball from putting out some type of documentary or like whatever you want to call it, similar to the quarterback one, Full Swing. Is it Hard Knocks in football?
Hard Knocks is so good. Like
There was one in hockey
it's a
too,
lot.
right? So
well, the hockey
there's
one was like a goofy one because it was all or nothing. It was like Amazon specific. It was all or nothing. It was
Just
about
the Leafs, right?
in
And
20.
it was ended up
Leafs
being
in
a
the
nothing.
COVID in the
well,
COVID year,
Hmm.
like that they lost to Montreal. So, but yeah,
anyways,
baseball needs that shit. Like,
there's I have an idea. So what if every team had a week and you start in the start of spring training
That's
and you
more
kind
fun.
of plan it out. You kind of plan it out. You're going to be intrusive for a week. You're right. But you don't go talk to starters on their start days. You don't push the position players right before games. Maybe you're filming BP, you're getting some post-game interviews. You kind of show some of the highlights of the game. Maybe you got hot mics in the dugout and everyone knows. So I'm not saying stupid shit, but you catch the odd hot mic moment. Like you plan it out. You have Oakland, first week of spring training. But then I don't know how it
I think
works
you could
out.
follow Oakland all year, and I think that would be the most entertaining one
yeah,
of all
That'd
time.
be great.
I would love
it
to
would
see
literally
what's
just
going
be
on in Oakland. I
it
think
would just
that's
be
way
Major
better.
League minus the fact that the Major League
It's
guys actually
literally a
won.
real life Major League.
It's real life
It's
Major
just-
League, but they suck instead of fucking
Yeah,
them
they don't
becoming
end
good.
up
Yeah.
winning it all. They
Yeah.
don't win the whole fucking thing.
But you know what I mean? You'd have
I
so much
think
potential
that
with
way is
that.
a good way to put it. My
I think
original thought process was 162 games is a lot, and there's
No,
not a lot of days off.
you give guys their breaks, and then maybe it's an hour and a half show that comes out weekly, and you do that, or an hour and a half, whatever, and you condense everything. You take a week, you get some interviews with a bunch of the guys. It's a way to grow the game, right? Like I think compared to most sports, you don't really know many baseball players. Like you don't know them. They're not in the media as much. This puts them there. And maybe guys can opt out if they don't want to, but like you still have some mandate they have to do like X amount, and if it gets cut, it gets cut. But there's guys who would flourish on that. And I think it'd be so cool and such a good idea for the game. They can put it on fucking LB Network if they want to make their money on it. Like whatever. Like people will buy LB Network just to watch that.
Dude, like imagine us watching an entire like Hard Knock style spring training with the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Like and then you get
I don't think it's the entire thing. Like I think that's the toughest.
The devil's advocate on this one because it's a cool idea, but from the content creation side of things, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
It'd be really tough to try and harness that into one good thing. Like with football, like the quarterback thing works so well because you play one game and then you can just go see this guy for the entire week. And like
and it was also
you're not
3
really
guys.
doing much and it's 3 people. If you do
I
baseball, like
understand.
you could follow Shohei, but then it's just the daily routine over and over and over. And I think baseball players are kind of boring that way, where they're locked into one thing where you're just gonna do that. Most of them do the same thing every day. Doesn't change.
That's what I'm saying. You swap around. You see different guys' routines. Maybe you
Yeah.
see like Yamamoto apparently has some wild
With the
pitching
javelins and stuff.
routines
But
that he uses. Like
that's a YouTube video's worth of content. That's not like
you don't make a whole hour on it, but like you talk maybe you have 2 minutes on it talking to him about why he does it. You show some videos of what he's doing, and then the next day he's out pitching, and you like do that, and you interview him afterwards, and
Sure. Yeah. No, there's there's people that are a hell of a lot better at this than I am that could go out and actually make something out of this. It just to me seems like a lot compared to going to Kirk Cousins' house and seeing his hidden room that has all his shrine to himself,
and
basically.
goddamn
Like
minivan.
yeah, and like stuff like that where like most of the quarterback series was just following them around in their lives. And same with Full Swing, kind of. It wasn't as much focused on the golf as it was here's Brooks Koepka and what he's doing, or Rory McIlroy and what he's doing, stuff like that. Whereas baseball, there's no time to follow these guys around. Like you get a day off, 2-3 days off a month, and you're like, you're now spreading that out, and you have to film content for 4 months at a time to get like a 20-minute episode.
I think there's probably a guy on each team that would do it. You look at Manoah, the way like the stuff they did before the season. You tell me Bryce Harper wouldn't do that?
Maybe.
I think Mookie Betts would. Mookie Betts has a podcast. There's a couple guys in the Tigers that have podcasts. Like, I think it'd just be cool. And baseball needs some sort of content. Like, what All-Star game was it? 21 Manoah, or was that 22? 22 Manoah in the All-Star game mic'd up. That was like
that brought eyes to the game.
Also, the Nestor and fucking Trevino inning where they're both mic'd up.
Yeah. Even on the smaller end of things, like Edwin Diaz's intro being like recorded and televised and shown places, like that brought a whole different, like, I don't want to say crowd because it was kind of similar, but like a whole new viewership to the Mets at least. Like there's just something
the one that never got talked about that I think was just as cool was Jacob deGrom warming up to Simple Plan with the Mets, or no, Simple Man, sorry, with the Mets. Yeah, not Simple Plan, Simple Man. That is also electric, and you can show things like that. That got me back into
listening to Simple Man, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. Yeah. Like
electric.
But also, Nate,
there's all sorts of little things you can do like that. I think it's harder to do what you're trying to say.
So maybe it's a half hour, and you just are with them like on their off day or whatever. You schedule it so you're there on an off day, and you follow around a couple guys and or whatever. You know what I mean? It's maybe it's something like that. And it's a half
I think if you can find a team on their week where they have a home series, a day off, and then a home series. And I think you can maybe do that consistently enough so you get a little bit of baseball. You can follow their star for the day, and then you get a little bit more baseball after that.
I don't even think it has to be just a star. Like, it's just cool to like.
If you're gonna try and grow, I think it's got to be at least a character.
What, Brant, you're telling me?
No, that's what I'm saying. You want
you're telling me the world
you want Brett
Phillips.
Love. You don't want who else was on that team. You don't want Wander Franco. You want Brett Phillips.
Well, I mean, I definitely want Wander Franco now. I would love to see what the fuck went through that guy's head.
But Brant, you're telling me
I'm gonna not make the comment I wanted to.
yeah, Jesus. I'm just moving on. You're gonna tell me the public wouldn't fucking adore a full episode of Kevin Biggio doing whatever the fuck he does on an off day?
I think they would way rather watch Vlad do something.
I think you could argue they'd just as much want to watch Kiermaier for a day.
Oh, that's for very different reasons.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be just a star. Like, it could be guys like that.
Sure.
Following Danny Jansen on his day off.
I think you're going to get more people watching Vlad than you are Kevin Kiermaier.
This is fair, but
it's cool to learn about different guys in different roles too.
Yeah.
Though. Like,
yeah.
Also,
if it's not a bad idea, that's where I'll leave that at.
There's ways to do it, and I think do it well and do it right and not be super intrusive.
Mm-hmm. But a thing that I just like realized, Nate, is your suggestion of it's an extended version of what MLB Network already does in spring training of 30 teams in 30 days.
Yeah.
It's just an extended version of that, which I
just want it to be better done.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
I don't want him. I know you said MLB Network. I don't want them to do it because their guys suck.
No.
Give me someone else.
Amazon.
It'd be cool to have like the Poppy, A-Rod, and Jeter crew do something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
like
they could do. He'll never do it, but like the way they did the Kelsey documentary, you could do that with like a Shohei. I think that would blow. Trout's just boring, man. I have no interest in watching what Trout does in his day-to-day life.
The most exciting thing that Mike Trout would do is go to an Eagles game.
I feel like he eats a bowl of cornflakes in the morning and that's it.
Cornflakes with protein powder.
He just does not seem like he does anything exciting. I don't know. I think the most exciting thing about him is that he's building a golf course with Tiger Woods. That's it.
True.
It's fair.
I think Mookie maybe would be a fun one to follow around for a year because he's just a star in his own. But I think if you're going to try and do the biggest thing possible, I think it would be a guy like Shohei.
I think a year's a lot, and to follow one guy around in baseball. That's why I'm kind of thinking.
Well, they did it with Kelsey, right? That's kind of the thought process on it. But it's so much more. It's tough. Anything else before we get to the final one? No. We talked about the rule changes yesterday. Conversation was a little better yesterday because I didn't even understand the rules yesterday.
Yeah, we had a minor heart attack on one of them, but Nate saved us.
Nate did help us through the one. We'll get to it in a second. Firstly, we talked about it. The pitch clock with runners on is going from 20 to 18 seconds.
Stupid.
Seems dumb for a
That
very minimal.
Sense. You're
getting no gain.
Save a couple minutes, maybe a couple minutes a game, but it's not noticeable.
No
time.
You're not drawing fans in with 5 minutes quicker.
The risk so much outweighs the reward in this, and let's just leave it at that.
If I'm a fan that watches baseball, I'm not looking at a 2.5-hour game and going, "Ooh, it's only 2:25 now." That's not bringing me in.
That's kind of what I see with the next one here too. Mound visits are down from 5 to 4 now.
Yep.
I think growing up being a catcher, you need those mound visits sometimes just to talk to the guy and get yourselves on the same page. Again, it's just such a negligible thing. It very rarely gets used, 5 of them. I don't know why they're even worried about it, but I don't see the point, and I think there could be the odd negative. It's not going to be very often, but I just don't think it's worth it.
Right. I think the only thing it leads to is more injuries, is I think the biggest concern of this.
Yeah. Which sucks ass. Because that's going to be that's going to be a bunch of stars like it was this year. Even though I'm using the term stars loosely, but point stands.
Yeah. That's tough, man. The next one is the one we had confusion on yesterday. If a pitcher starts to warm up before an inning, he must face at least one hitter. Now, Connor and I thought this was like, if you're going out to throw things on the mound, then you're coming in the game.
In the bullpen.
In the bullpen.
In the bullpen. That's what I meant. Sorry.
So what this actually means is if you bring in a lefty, he gets 1 out in the 7th, and you got another lefty coming up in the 8th. You send your lefty back out there. He hops on the mound, starts throwing some pitches. The manager sends out a righty to combat that lefty. It happened very rarely, but the odd time, the manager would then take that pitcher out because he'd already been used for his 3 batters, warm up a new pitcher, bring in a righty to face the righty. It's eliminated that. It's really not something you see very often. It's kind of reminiscent of before the 3 batter minimum when you bring in a lefty to face a lefty and the manager sends up a righty and then the guy doesn't even throw pitch and you bring in a righty to face him, which I thought was really stupid and slow. This happened much less. I don't think I've ever actually seen it happen in a game I've been watching, but it obviously did for them to do it. All in all, I think it's fine. It makes sense.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt the game as much as the runner's lane to first has now been widened to the infield grass. Which serve some
will be
poor purposes.
You allow the runner to now run
wild
inside fair territory.
Yeah.
So he's essentially taking away the catcher's lane on a bunt, or a squib or whatever.
Yep.
And
into the first baseman.
Last time I looked at a baseball field, that's kind of where the first baseman's standing. I think you're just opening the door for much more injuries. I think it's just a bad rule to begin with. I don't get it.
I know we've both been on either sides of this play too, though, where it's just like you're trying to run the inside and the outside, and like you hope to God that your communication's good enough so you get the first baseman on the outside of the play as opposed to the inside if this happens.
Yeah.
But like in the majors, when there's 40,000 people screaming their heads off at the play, probably going to be a little hard to communicate where you're throwing this in the bag. So you're instinctively going to line up on the inside, and then it's just going to get real ugly if you're the first baseman.
The other thing, you run the risk of more runners getting hit, which obviously they want in that scenario because if they get hit, they're getting the base. But like, you wear one off the elbow and bust your elbow like that.
Take one on the back of the head. The catcher's still humming balls. It's not taking 92 from the catcher is no different than taking 92 from the pitcher. It's tough. It's a weird one. I don't really understand why they did it. Connor brought up yesterday the idea of having the softball bags where you have the orange and the white, which I don't love the rule idea, but it makes more sense player safety wise to have 2 different spots where you go.
Yeah.
As opposed to this where it's just, well, everybody run in the same line and hope to God no one gets hit.
Well, that was a rule that had been talked about, I think, for a few years now, was the double bag for safety concerns. I think that's out the door with this. Like there's no chance it happens now.
For sure.
So I wouldn't have liked it either, but
if I'm a Trey Turner, I'm laying down this bunt to the catcher every time I'm just kind of dropping it somewhere in between the pitcher and the catcher here.
Even the pitcher, if it's up
on
the first
grass.
baseline enough on a drag bunt or whatever, and the pitcher pops up, he's staring right at your back pretty well. Like
Dalton Varsho is going to double his amount of drag bunts, and he's also going to triple his amount of concussions this year, I think. He's going to do it all the time, and he's going to reach because they have no throw, or he's going to wear one in the back of the head.
Yeah. I don't know. They're pretty inconsequential this year compared to last year, obviously, but overall, I really don't.
They're little, but they're stupid. I think. I think I
don't understand the point of this one at all.
No, like you had, like you did something great last year.
You're just trying to give the runner a bigger lane, which I don't think they need.
No. It's also we talked about it yesterday, but the timing on the 18 seconds, like you finally got everyone to start figuring out the 20-second thing a little bit, and now you're going to go, hey, new plan, we're changing it again. Good luck.
2 seconds.
It's not big.
It's not a lot.
Not a huge change, but
it's not going to lead to much more, but it's going to lead to more strenuous arms. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just you had such a big win. The pitcher warming up, I think that makes sense. Like, but the other three just are so inconsequential. All four of them are inconsequential. It's just stupid. The runner's lane, I don't get. I don't see what the positive is out of this. The other ones, at least I understand where their head is at. The other three are timing. This one is not. And it's not player safety either. And I don't is it really increasing offense? Like, you think that many more guys are just going to bunt? Like we're talking about, I don't think it's actually going to happen.
Probably not. I mean, for some guys it will, but not generally. I mean, as a league, you're still trying to hit the home run. You're not going for these shitty little drag bunts.
Are you going to have Kevin Biggio bunting 20 times?
You're not going to have Kevin Biggio bunting because he's not good at it.
That's
ever seen him try
I don't know.
I'm
thinking of a lefty. Are you going to have Juan Soto bunting more this year because of this? Like, no, it's not.
No.
It's the ultimate surprise.
But you might have Dalton Varsho and Kevin Kiermaier bunt more.
So it's just going to be so. I don't know.
I think
as a game, is that what you want?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I love that we still managed to go over an hour.
Yeah, dude,
when we did talk about all this last night and try to condense it.
The only thing we added was Kiermaier said a couple things about him maybe not being a star.
We added Ben Verlander. And we took away that loser in
idea.
Brant, I swear to God.
Hey, did they find him?
Did they find the warrant was for today, right?
Wait,
where in the world?
I saw that earlier.
Wander Franco.
For those of you who don't know, I think it was Basson tweeted yesterday that Franco had to appear in court, I think at 10 o'clock this morning. They had raided a couple of his properties, or a couple of houses connected to him, and he was not found.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wander Franco today was a no-show after summons. He's a no-show to his summons.
Where in the world is Wander Franco?
He's on the lam.
Where in the world is Wander Franco?
He's wandering, clearly.
So he did it.
He did it. He did this shit.
So the Rays are fucked. We talked about this last night.
Oh yeah.
They can't afford to be paying. I don't know what his contract is, but I'm gonna guess around 25 a year to a guy who's
they're fine now because this just voids it.
But
this is force majeure.
If he ends up, if there's a warrant out for his arrest, I would assume.
You would assume. Do you know that for a fact, though?
I don't. But if being on the run from the cops would probably void your contract.
I don't know, man. Baseball contracts are guaranteed. They are weird and like.
Was OJ Simpson's contract guaranteed?
Wander Franco's money doesn't kick in yet.
Nice.
It's
like at all? Even if he is here?
Next year, $2 million this year.
Oh,
because they time it out. So
they knew. The Rays knew.
No. So you progress the same way you would this way as if you went through renewals and arbitration usually.
Yeah.
No,
So
the
yeah,
Rays
for
do.
his technically his first year of ARB in 2025 is 8 million. Then it goes to 15, then to 22. Then his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His first 5 years of free agent eligibility is 25 million with a club option in 2033 for another.
Did the Rays know all along, and they tipped off police?
They're like, this Wander guy, something's off about him. We
Type of
really,
knives
They're
we
like,
really don't want to pay his contract.
Type
We
of
can't
knives
afford
out.
this one. Let's just throw this little niblet out there and see if they
It's-
can figure it out on their own.
Brant, what type of knives
shades-
out shit are you on?
Shades of Mr.
Would you
Carabas
put
and
it-
Pablo Sandoval.
Would you put it past the Rays?
No.
No.
No,
That's the one
but-
organization I would expect to do something like this. Get what
no,
you can out of them.
There's another one.
The A's?
The A's John Fisher might set the guy up.
He might have planted. So
He
you're
might
saying John
dress
Fisher
up as
is-
the miner himself. Yeah, no. Couple dicey organizations.
Get out
I
of here
can
before
see
we
it.
say some dicey shit. Holy fuck, boys.
Oh, thank you for listening. Good luck to the police in the Dominican. I hope you find them.
Use excessive force, please.
Yeah, and also if this please everybody. I mean, if you're gonna hear this, the episode of Seeing the Light of Day, but oh my god, please, Brant, your computer better fucking.
Oh, just so everyone was aware, because there was one other thing we actually talked about last night, was making IKF shirts and making a bet, and the loser having to wear it. So
Because of last
we
night's-
decided, and Brent has agreed, that to multiple home Blue Jays games this year, he has to wear a silhouette face of IKF.
I might just put his actual face. It's way
Okay, that's
better.
fine. On the front of the
even better.
shirt,
Yeah.
with his name and number on the back.
Gotta be
it
Kiner
has to-
Falefa too, eh?
and
That's
has
so
to
many
take
letters.
multiple. He has to take pictures each time.
See, I'm saying I think I'd actually wear one if you made me a silhouette of his face with the beard and it said IKF and his number on the back.
Yeah,
see,
can I do
Nate-
IKF instead of Kiner Falefa?
no,
Because that's
Nate
way
gets the-
easier to actually make.
Nate gets the cool version. You got to do the shitty one.
I'll
You
put
gotta
his
go
face
through-
like his actual
no,
face.
no,
That's fine.
You got to go
But
through the
Kiner
struggle of Kiner
Falefa is
Falefa.
so much more work.
gotta
and
go
it
through the
costs
struggle.
way more.
You got to go through the struggle of Kiner Falefa because of what you did, what your computer did.
It's
to
not
us.
what I did. I didn't have any
What
play in
what
this.
your
Like, my
computer did to
computer
us.
said no.
Okay, but is it yours? Brent, this
Yeah.
is also a computer that I literally think for 4, maybe 5 months of us doing this podcast, you saw half of the screen.
I still
On your-
have half a screen. I use there's a reason why I look up so much is because this screen doesn't work. I can see if this is my screen, I have this part of it. Like that's it. So
Okay. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
thank you for listening if you've made it this far. We
we
appreciate
hope
it.
this podcast sees the light of day.
We are
Yeah.
hoping
Because I swear to God.
we're praying to the baseball gods that this one gets through and you will get to hear this one. My apologies for making it out.
Yeah,
We will catch you.
This is the last time Brant records and edits. if this doesn't
we're-
see the
We
fucking
might
light.
end the podcast.
No, I'll do it.
Perfect. We'll see you next week. Cheers.